Aerials in the sky. When you lose small mind, you free your life. Life is a waterfall. We drink from the river, then we turn around and put up our wall. Swimming through the void, we hear the words. We lose ourselves, but we find it all. 'Cause we are the ones that wanna play. Always wanna go, but you never wanna stay. And we are the ones that wanna choose. Always wanna play, but you never wanna lose.
Hello. Thank you for tuning. I was going to say, you need to put me over. What are you doing? I'm technically on the left. You guys, the reason I look like I'm like 2 feet tall, which isn't too far off from reality, in fairness, Andrew knows, he's met me. I'm about up to his waist. But no, I'm 5'2". I'm a short thing. But yeah, so I like an hour ago, my green screen fell on me and knocked down my webcam and microphone. They went crashing on my hardwood floor. So if you cannot hear me, please let me know. Right now, I have my webcam scotch taped to the top of my computer, and that's why I look so small. I may actually have to switch over to my phone if it keeps falling. But yes, that's us broke folks. That's what we do. We don't have producers and stuff. It's just me in my spare bedroom and some scotch tape. Now that's punk rock as fuck. So what you up to, Andrew?
I'm a little miserable right now.
I'm
miserable.
You got a case of the sads. I know, bud.
Yeah. My team. I'm a Cleveland Guardians fan, and they just lost against the Yankees. So, but yeah. So.
I just hate when the Yankees win at anything because
they
always win at shit, which I find real. I like the
one
underdog.
of the richest teams, and like they always just buy their World Series and shit. So yeah, but we're gonna get through this.
We're gonna get through it, and we still got my team in top 4. Let's go Phillies! Let's go. Sorry. I've been a Phillies fan my whole life because I'm a Phillies girl, and they have sucked so bad the past 6-7 years. I mean, just so bad. We wanted to see them a couple times a year, and my God, they've sucked. But this kind of took a lot of people by surprise, and I'm all about it. So I'm actually, watching again, which it's the only, sport I actually watch. However, here's something I haven't told you. So my husband is 4th generation Penn State, and I got me, my husband, and both of our fathers tickets to go see Penn State in 2 weeks. That stadium holds over 100,000 people. That's fucking insane. Why am I going? I don't fucking know. I have anxiety just thinking about it Me with my white cane trying to climb those steps. Should be fun. Oh my god. I'm crazy. I don't know why I do this shit. But anyway, white men go first. Come on, babe. What you got tonight?
So Desert Mantis here, this actually goes perfectly into what I wanted to talk about or continue talking about a little bit. Desert Mantis says, I watched Andrew Sysco video a little while ago on Sabby Sabs. Did Sabby show that video? Oh,
nice.
News for me. Thanks for covering the strike, Andrew. Yeah, of course. Yeah, no.
And we have an update on that, so perfect.
We do have an update on that. So I'm going to give this update, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about what I saw at that picket, because I think there's a lot of interesting things as well. So let me pull this up quick. So here's an update. Police in Boston are arresting striking workers at Sysco, the world's largest food distributor. Local outlet WCVB reports a massive law enforcement presence and multiple people being loaded into the back of a police van. So let me... Hold that line! Close those doors. So if we just see, there's just showing police arresting some of the drivers on strike.
And it's important to explain that every single one of these strikers was 100% peaceful. They were disrupting people.
Okay.
And like, oh my God, fuck you. You want fair wages. Oh, hell no. And you can't hear it very well in that version, but there is a gentleman screaming, hold the line, as they're threatening arrest. So that's why you do see some people sitting down, and fuck yes, because that's what we need. Don't fucking bend over. Fuck that shit. Every protest I've ever done where police say, get out or we'll arrest you. No.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
You're going to have to pull my ass out.
So when I was there this past weekend and spoke to some of the drivers, they were saying that a lot of those, there were a lot of cops there. There were a lot of cops essentially occupying the picket line. And essentially how it would work is the strikers had one lane of this 2-lane street, right? And they would be able to occupy both lanes, but right when a truck came by, right, which was mostly filled with a scab, right, the cops would say, clear this lane, and they would let the trucks go by, right? These cops were doing a detail, essentially. Sysco hired these cops to do a detail. According to the workers there, $80 to $100 an hour. There were easily, at that specific time, the 3-hour to 4-hour time I was there were easily 25 cops within that radius making sure that those scabs could get through. And so...
Okay, so here's my first thought when I see that shit. This is my fear, that now they will get fired because they have an arrest record.
It's possible. I don't really know what legally can be done.
I mean, if it's in their handbook, you have an arrest record, you're done. They just force you into quitting, essentially. So risking, your job to protest, that's legit.
Right. Interestingly enough, when I was there were some of the people on strike who were having some conversations, like friendly conversations with some of the cops. And so, I support them. I'm also going to be like, okay, literally they are there to literally sabotage your strike. Probably shouldn't talk to them. But I guess that kind of speaks to, it's interesting. When I was covering the Starbucks strike, right? A lot of younger people. And these were a lot of people who had been a part of Teamsters for a long time, right? There were some younger people, but it did skew older, right? Older and white. There were some people of color as well, but it was a lot of older white people too, right? I think it just really showed sort of the generational gap between sort of labor and how they go about doing this. I think it's disgusting. The cops obviously arrested them, but it really does make me wonder, like, why in the first place they were kind of, some of them were just acting buddy with the cops, because like, this is what happens. They're not there to be your friends. Yeah. So I don't know.
Gotta love how, like, cops' cars says to protect and serve in quotes. Like, they literally acknowledge that they don't fucking do that.
Right. So, another great thing is they had just a huge ass camera. Sysco had a huge ass camera that was over towering the people on strike, just so that they could just keep tabs of exactly who was there. So, yeah. And they were paying the scabs to come from out of town. And they paid for them to stay in the hotel. They paid for their rental car, and they paid them more than that they were paying. This is what I was hearing. Again, it was from the workers strike picketing, but yeah,
doing that is temporary.
Yeah,
you know
but
what I mean?
Like, yeah. Well, it's temporary, and then they're spending $80 to $100 per hour on the cops. I mean, it just shows it's about control. It's not about
it's absolutely
money in the
about control.
Meantime, right? Because in order to squash this strike, they are spending so much money.
I think, what it always comes down to, and this isn't some kind of epiphany. I'm sure everyone watching knows this, but we can't expect that corporations are going to have empathy. They're not. It is always about the dollar. Always. Yeah. It doesn't matter. There are people perhaps within that company who act like they have empathy and maybe do when they're talking to you. And the second they walk out of that room, dollar bills. That's all that matters. Mm-hmm. So this is not surprising. And the more and more workers are striking, the more and more we are hearing this about so many businesses.
Mm-hmm. One of the things I remember last week, when we were reading one of the articles, is that they were talking about how small businesses are suffering because of the strikes, right? And then we ended up seeing that a lot of small businesses actually, small restaurants specifically, stopped partnering with Sysco because they were requiring way too much quantities. It was way too expensive, right? So I actually, my pizza place down the corner, I just kind of casually asked, I was like, do you use Sysco? And they were like, no, we used to, but they were just charging way too much for too big of quantities that we don't use. And I was like, oh, okay, that's good. They're on strike right now. And he's like, yeah, I heard about that. And then it went in, but it was just funny, even just that antidote to hear, Like, this just small local pizza place. They're just like, yeah, no, we can't use Sysco because they deliver too much.
Well, I believe last time when we talked about this a few weeks ago, when you covered it, or a week ago,
Yeah.
I seem to remember you saying that a lot of people were being charged even if their orders were not delivered.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
remember that.
positive you said that.
Yeah.
Which is insane. But yeah, they charge like all this money to get it within 48 hours and stuff, and then people were literally driving out of state to pick it up themselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What's that saying?
The police union is breaking the Sysco union. AC Ton. Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Police unions. Yeah, the one union that should be busted.
Yeah, exactly. That's not even a fucking union. That's like a
really
gang, a cabal.
Yeah. Well, it's literally a union set up to defend corporate interests. Like, it's literally the corporation's union. Like that.
Yeah.
That's really kind of when you think about
the
it.
CI union.
Yeah.
It's like a government calling themselves a union. The government, aka union.
Yeah. So, speaking of getting arrested, yeah.
No, it wasn't me this time.
So yeah, Gen Z activists who dumped 2 cans of tomato soup on Van Gogh's sunflowers plead not guilty in court. I did see this on social media a little bit. This is not something that I am 100% privy to. So yeah, looking forward to kind of what you have to say about this.
Well, why don't you read the article, because it'll give a little backstory on what they did and why they pleaded not guilty. I don't know how many of you guys have heard about this. I think it's probably one of those things that we're covering, other people haven't. And right away it pisses me off that they're like Gen Z. You're dismissing this. Who the fuck cares how old they are?
So, 3 climate activists appeared in a London court on Saturday on charges of criminal damage after protests, including throwing soup over Vincent van Gogh's sunflowers painting in the National Gallery. 2 women, aged 20 and 21, were charged in relation to the soup throwing protest on Friday, while a third was charged over paint sprayed on a rotating sign at the Metropolitan Police's headquarters in central London. The 3 women pleaded not guilty to criminal damage at Westminster's Magistrates Court during 2 brief hearings Saturday. Demonstrators from climate change protest groups Extinction Rebellion and Just Stop Oil, which wants the UK government to halt new oil and gas projects, staged a series of protests in London on Friday. Just Stop Oil said activists dumped 2 cans of tomato soup over the Van Gogh oil painting, one of the Dutch artist's most iconic works. The 2 protesters also glued themselves to the gallery wall. Prosecutor Ola Oyedepedo said the pair didn't harm the oil painting, which was covered by a glass protective case, but damage was caused to the frame. The painting, one of several versions of sunflowers that Van Gogh painted in the late 1880s, was cleaned and returned to its place in the National Gallery on Friday afternoon. District Judge Tan Urquham released the women on bail on condition that they don't have paint or adhesive substance on them in a public place. Police said they made 28 arrests in relation to Friday's protests, and 25 others were bailed pending further investigation. On Saturday, police arrested a further 26 people after Just Stop Oil protesters blocked a major road in East London. Some demonstrators glued themselves to the road's surface. Just Stop Oil has drawn attention and criticism for their disruptive tactics, including targeting artwork and museum. In July, activists glued themselves to the frame of an early copy of Leonardo da Vinci's Last Supper at London's Royal Academy of Arts, and to John Constaple's The Hay Wine in National Gallery. Is that what that's called? The Hay Wine? Okay. Activists have also blocked, I'm not an art connoisseur if you can't tell. Activists have also blocked bridges and intersections across London during 2 weeks of protests against the UK government's approach to climate change. The latest wave of demonstrations came as Prime Minister Liz Truss, Conservative government, opened a new licensing round for oil and gas operations in the North Sea and reversed the 2019 ban on fracking in England. Environmentalists say the UK government was undermining the fight against climate change. Okay.
So, I'm sorry, but y'all remember last year when in UK someone threw a can of soup and it blew up into memes and shit, and then Trump said don't throw cans of soup, and there was all this tomato soup talk, and then I'm sorry, but that's the first fucking thing I thought of, because again it was UK, and I'm like, oh my god, these people love their fucking tomato soup. So I'm not sure if it was supposed to look like blood or what the point of it was, but I'm glad the painting was behind glass because he's one of my favorites and I've seen that live and I love it. But super gluing themselves to the road, okay? Like, what? Like, I mean, it's badass. I'm not hating. I'm just like, damn. First of all, how does that even work? I'm not sure. But, and then, super gluing yourself to the wall. Couldn't they just make you take your shirt off? Really? I don't know. If you have something underneath it, anyway.
It's a very artistic way to protest.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm interested in the fact that they only got let out on bail. That's very interesting to me because in US, but they're so much more used to protests in UK because we just sit on our asses here. So when, those of us who protest actually do, it's like, oh shit, no. Here comes the arrest. So more power to these kids. I mean, going out and doing that. Hell yeah.
It's interesting that, they're targeting art museums in that way. I'd be curious.
Probably because a lot of bougie people go there.
Yeah, I was wondering if that was sort of it. Yeah.
That was my first thought. But then, I mean, there's also people like myself who go there. I go to museums all the time. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but that museum is very ritzy, like real bougie. Like they have like banquets and shit there. So to me, that's right. And it's going to get attention. So I'm sure that has something to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like a matter of the overall culture behind it is thought of as bougie, even if like there are deals and some of them are, it's not like that's that expensive, but it's like a cultural thing that's kind of thought of like, oh, yeah,
for sure.
So
every time I see Real Progress and Action comment, I'm like, ooh, I want to see what that says, and it's always the automatic like subscribe, subscribe to our channel,
subscribe to your channel.
Yeah, like come on, guys, get involved. Don't just do the automatic all the time. Come on, people.
Subscribe to Savage Joy's personal channel if you aren't already. Yeah. All right. So, all right. So we're gonna talk about. We're gonna go.
You didn't say what you thought when you saw that article.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a creative way to protest.
Creative. Yeah. Remember that
very
one?
Artistic.
Oh my God. I just thought of this. About last year, we covered that story. No, it couldn't have been last year because it was about Ukraine. When those women went topless, they took their bras off and they painted the yellow and blue Ukraine flag on their testicles. And all stood in front of the Empire State Building. Do you remember that? Of course you remember that. What am I asking? That's what I just thought of that. Random, but yeah, I remember that.
I don't remember where they were, but I remember. No,
you remember part of that story.
I remember part of it. Yeah. All right. So
what do we got next?
Next, we got so thousands of Haitians took to the streets on the 216th anniversary of the assassination of Haitian revolutionary Jean-Jacques Dessalines to oppose foreign military intervention and the neo-colonial government of de facto PM Ariel Henry. Here's a video of this.
Voilà, en pile ambiance, les doigts en main, drapeau là aussi à flotter, en pile.
We can't do that here. We can, but we don't. But that's so beautiful. It is so beautiful. And I've protested with Haitians before, and it's powerful and it's incredible. And do you want to show the Queen, Claire Daly?
Sure, I could try.
She's a fucking queen. Like a queen.
Oh, yes. Where is she?
I sent it to you.
Yeah,
and said,
I know.
Oops,
I know.
this is topic 1.
Yep. I got it. All right, here we go. Sharing now. Sorry, y'all. I made this clear at the beginning. This is not my night. I am doing my best to get through this, but I'm here, and we're healthy, and so you know what?
Well, I have a big lump on my head, but other than that,
you've got your head intact. It's a little lumpy.
I'm hard-headed. So.
You're hard-headed. You're here. I'm here.
And crushing debt.
And she's definitely
Haiti
here.
is the site of the first and only successful revolution in history. Haitians won their independence from France in 1804 and immediately abolished slavery, becoming the first place in the world to do so. It was also the first state to outlaw racism in its constitution. Haiti was a beacon of light for the world, and it was punished for it. It was punished over and over again by France, by the US, through a series of coups, invasions, occupations, assassinations, through relentless meddling and crushing debt. They were determined that this beacon of freedom would be extinguished because it presented a bold challenge to the dread logic of capital and empire. But the Haitian people kept fighting through. Theirs is a light that never goes out. And so it's still being punished. The meddling goes on. If Haiti is a mess, and it is, then Europe and the US are to blame. If we want to support the Haitian people, and we should, we'll stand up to the US, the world's bully, tell them to get out of Haiti and get out of it ourselves.
I'm just so tired of these pro-Putin talking points. No.
US, the world's bully.
Yeah.
She's my queen. She is my fucking queen. Like, oh my God. Her speeches give me goosebumps. She's like the only true anti-war person we have. Like, true anti-war. Not 95% of the time, or no, like anti-war, anti-interventionalism, she is so badass. She's punk rock as fuck. I love you, Claire Daly. But yeah, I mean, we, our interventions now in Haiti, and of course, I'm being told no, MSM is covering it. I wouldn't know because I don't watch that garbage, but it's not shocking. So, I mean, the fact of the matter is, you have Obama, okay? He has 7 wars under his presidency. 7. Dropped more bombs than any president in history. And nobody talks about war and imperialism. Ukraine, blonde hair and blue eyes. Ukraine. Why not Haitians? Why not all the black and brown people Obama bombed? I wonder why. Why are we only talking about the blonde hair and blue-eyed people?
I have no idea.
We're fucking racist. Our country is racist. Even if it's subconscious, they are ignoring. They have their selective outrage. But Putin. What about the U.S.? We're fucking killing people all the time. We're invading yet another country who does not want us there. Like, I was reading posts from Haitians, and this one woman, it was so powerful. She did a thread about how we don't ask for your help. We don't need you. We want you to leave. And it's just like, the people in the country never get asked. Like, are we asked if we want to be involved in Ukraine? No. It's so crazy. And, the woman said, I'm so tired of people thinking that we are this poor, sad country who always needs the U.S. to come to, to be our saviors. That's not the case. We have the people, we have love, we have humanity, and it was so beautiful. And I just thought, this is exactly the point. This is beautiful, and this is how it should be. But we go in there and insert ourselves, and it gets ignored.
Yeah. That politician basically talks how I think we were all hoping Bernie Sanders would talk. Like
What?
Just in terms of that politician, the way she spoke, I think that's why we were hoping Bernie would talk.
Dude, that woman is 1985 Bernie. Where? I don't fucking know, but that's the punk rock Bernie right there. That's
what we wanted. We're like, please get there. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a fucking badass. Love her. What else we got?
Yeah, so we got, all right, so we're just going to talk a little bit about Tulsi.
Tulsi who?
Tulsi Gabbard. Oh, man. So, I mean, I think there's a lot that can be said. For those of you, just in case you all don't know, she announced that she was going to not be a Democrat anymore, independent, which, I think the issue is not that she's leaving the Democratic Party. The issue is...
First, I have a question, though. Did she say she's going to be an independent? Because I've never found proof of this.
She just said she's leaving the Democratic Party.
Exactly.
She's not saying that she's an independent.
Said where she was going.
Yeah, she's not.
Never said that. So...
I think she's going to wait. She's waiting like a few months, and then she'll officially announce she's a Republican. I think she's waiting it out. But
the whole video, she's like, because I'm leaving the Dems, blah, blah, blah. But she never says I re-registered as. So it's important to learn that if she's out campaigning for Republicans, she might have just left the duopoly to join the duopoly, which isn't exactly a badass thing to do.
Right.
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure because I'm seeing people say that, but I've yet to see anything about her saying independent.
Yeah, well, there are a lot of people who have this fantasy of who she is, and even though she over and over through what she says and does proves that she's not like this anti-war activist leftist hero. And it's kind of funny that some people still think that. I don't know.
It's not funny. It's fucking sad.
It's
K-Hive is bad, but let me tell you something. Tulsi fans, holy fuck. They've been attacking me for over 2 years for pointing out that she's a Republican. I've been calling this shit for over 2 years. I'm posting articles about how she said she believes gay people should have shock therapy, and like she believes in torturing other countries for people in other countries for information. The only time she says anything about war is she says regime change. She never says anything about interventional, she was raised a Christian fundamentalist. She has never stopped. This has been so obvious for years.
Mm-hmm.
And this is someone who met her, who wrote her in as VP in 2016, who really, really liked her. But I came around in like 2019.
You wrote her in for 2016?
I did.
As president?
No, for VP. I wrote
for
Bernie
VP.
in.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought you wrote Bernie in.
Well, I noticed that's a lot of people, give her credence for everything because she stepped down from DNC. That one move 6 years ago does not negate all of the disgusting things she has said since then. Like, you don't, no.
Well, and I think the thing is she's kind of like, she's kind of like a chameleon in a sense, right? There was a little bit of time where it was like she would kind of adjust some of her rhetoric depending on who she was talking about. Now she's just completely just going more and more right? Like when she talked about why she was leaving the Democratic Party, she talked about their cowardly wokeness, which, wokeness has become such a loaded term that I'm sorry, but if you don't say what you mean when you say wokeness, it's kind of a dog whistle at this point, right? Because of course there are the liberals that cynically kind of use it, right? But there's also a lot of the conservatives who now just say woke when it's like you're really just saying it because you're racist, right? Like, and that's how she uses woke all the time in that sense, right? And then she says racism to divide, right? And then she points out anti-white racism, and then criticizes the Democratic Party for demonizing the police, even though they are like the most pro-police party imaginable. I mean, Republicans are, not any much better, but Democrats have been trying to be like, oh, we love the police just as much as the Republicans. So, I mean, just like those talking points that she uses for why she left the Democratic Party. Look, me and Joy have been very clear about what we think of the Democratic Party, right?
I'm not a Dem, I'll tell you that fucking
But just because you're not a Dem or just because you're leaving the Democratic Party doesn't automatically make you a comrade or make you a great person. You actually have to listen to the reasoning why. And when you're kind of using these whistleblowers and these white nationalist talking points, it's like, oh, okay. You're trying to now ally yourself with the right. Okay, which is also
and I really what first started waking me up was in 2018. She started talking about her God nonstop, our God-given right to blah blah blah, and it is our God-given right to pray wherever we want to pray, even if it's in schools and blah blah blah. And it was like literally the only people who talk about God-given and prayer is Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
So she was starting, remember how we were all like, she wants a job on Fox News. That's why she's not rerunning, for re-election. She wanted a commentator position. And I've been saying she's going to run VP for Trump or DeSantis or something, and she's going to do well.
Well, yeah, and I think going off of that, right? Because I think it's always good to, since she has announced that she was not going to be part of the Democratic Party, she has made some moves, right? And she has endorsed this person, Carrie Lake,
who Trump has endorsed as well.
Yeah, for governor of Arizona, right? And so let's just look at Carrie Lake's policy page, because I think one of the things that people love to say about Tulsi is that she's anti-war, right? And so I just want to take a look at some of
Try looking at her voting history. I have. She's not anti-war.
Yeah. All right. So, all right, move back the blue. So Carrie Lake is for back the blue, which I guess is consistent with what Tulsi was saying, because she's mad that the Democrats are somehow demonizing police. So, I guess that makes sense that she would support a back the blue candidate.
Oh, you know what else she said too? And she did this repeatedly during the 2019 debate. She and her Tucker Carlson interviews and stuff, she repeatedly said all Democrats want open borders.
Oh yeah, she said that. Yeah, she says
she
that
has said that repeatedly, even on Twitter now. There is not a single Democrat who wants open fucking borders. That is a right-wing talking point.
So, yeah. So, Carrie Lake for governor. One of her key policy points is protect and support our military base. Goes on to say, Arizona is home to 7 military bases and installations which have contributed tremendously to the prosperity of our state and the safety of our citizens. Maintaining and expanding Luke AFB, Davis, Montham AFB, Fort Wakuka, the Barry M. Goldwater Range, Yuma Proving Grams, Camp Navajo, Macas Yuma, as well as our National Guard installations is critical to our future. I'll work with our representatives in Washington to ensure the continuation of current operations and advocate for expanding the missions and personnel assigned to each. Okay, so she definitely wants to expand the military base there. The first step in doing so is to help the Guard get the approval they are seeking to expand their footprint at Sky Harbor Airport. So this is quite an anti-war candidate that Tulsi is backing, right?
Who's also pro-life.
Yeah. She's also pro-life too. But I want to first go after the fact the fact that she's endorsing somebody who's extremely pro-military, because that's always the what about thing that people always like to, even the people who don't really care about LGBTQ rights, they're like, oh, she's the most anti-war person, so that's why I support her, right? Well, look at this. So, what's your excuse now,
But I read an article. I looked at her voting history. It's available.
Mm-hmm.
And I read an article that scored all the candidates on anti-war. In voting history, Bernie did get the top. She came in 4th. Okay. Mm-hmm. Kamala had voted for less than Tulsi.
Right.
So she always says regime change war. Always. It's not the only kind of fucking war there is. Don't you guys understand? She's using qualifications to obfuscate the fact that she's cool with other kinds of war.
Yes. Exactly. And so just going off of all of this, it's somewhere in here you can look on her page. She's definitely pro-life. Pro-life. This is don't California or Arizona. That's one of her stop sayings. Yeah. So that's Tulsi for you. Please stop. Just please stop using her as an example. Aloha. Yeah. She's
it's
all
very
about love.
loving. It's very, very loving to, promote hate and be anti-woman and anti-choice and anti-LGBTQ. And she also said one of the things that was a definite Republican ploy was Tulsi stated, if this woman loses, she will not accept the election results. So that was right there. Trump voters, please come to me. Please. We will not accept Trump voters. This is my whistle to you, my dog whistle. Do you hear me?
No, they heard it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So crazy.
I'm just looking forward for Andrew Yang and Tulsi Gabbard to do like a podcast together.
Dude, I told you that shit for over 2 years. I was like, I really, really, really thought that they were going to drop and run together in 2020. I really thought that because they were seen like going to lunches together and she would be like my friend Andrew Yang and stuff. And they're so comparable on so many things. They're both pathetic and idiotic stooges. So that's why they get along. But yeah, I swore they were gonna drop and run together.
Yeah.
Maybe she'll go with the Forward Party, which
I'm curious.
They have no candidates. They have no platform. They have nothing.
Well, I don't know if you saw, but they did make some endorsements. And Mark Kelly was one of them. And Mark Kelly, he's the Democrat in Arizona. He's an astronaut who is the senator. And who was one of the Republican senators in Alaska. I'm blanking on her name, but they were like the most bland, most like, they were both Republicans and Democrats. So
let's leave the duopoly so we can endorse the duopoly. That makes sense.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I think because interestingly enough, when it came to the Forward Party, Kim Iverson was actually speaking with Sabby. And Sabby was asking Kim Iverson because Kim Iverson's like, I forget, she has some sort of like role with the Forward Party, she said. Or she's involved with it in some way. So she is involved with it in some way. I'll have to go back at the link to say exactly how she's involved. But how she explained it was essentially that the Forward Party is like more like a caucus, right? And so the idea is that they come up with their priorities and then they have some of these politicians be part of the caucus. So it's kind of like almost like an even more watered down version of the Justice Democrats, because nothing in that Forward Party really is about actually creating its own party separated from the two parties. It's more of like to try and elect these people who are then going to try and put together some of the demands of the Forward Party. That was how it was really. So once I heard that, I was like, okay, so this is nothing. This is just.
Well, if you look it up, if you Google it, it comes up as a super PAC. That's how it's defined. A super PAC by Andrew Yang, created 2020 or whatever. And the fact that there's no candidates, no actual platform, anything like that, but the Yang Bangers absolutely swear it is a party. And I'm like, okay, here's the thing, you guys. It takes years to even get one state on the ballot. Just no.
Yeah. So, all right. This is kind of, I didn't even mean to do this, but so we're talking about Andrew Yang, and now we're going to talk about the fact that they're doing this program in LA, a UBI program. So here we go. Did not even plan to do this way, but should not have brought up Andrew Yang when talking about Tulsi.
Yang's UBI.
Well, no, this is its
Eat
own.
a bag of dicks.
Yeah. So young adults in LA to get $1,000 a month under new guaranteed income program. So a new program in Los Angeles County is offering universal basic income with $1,000 monthly payments to a select group of young adults. The Los Angeles County Department of Public Social Services introduced the pilot program, which will provide a 3-year guaranteed income for about 300 people ages 18 to 24. So it's basically sounds like a little like study. Recipients will be randomly selected to receive the monthly payments, according to a news release from the LA Counter Supervisor Hilda Solis. Those eligible must currently be enrolled in the General Relief Opportunities for Work or GROW program, which provides employment and training services for young adults who face employment and educational barriers and often come from vulnerable backgrounds, including being unhoused or unsheltered. These young people had to develop personal strength and resilience to overcome so many challenges in their lives, Solis says. Much like all of us, they just need an opportunity to put their talents and abilities to work. Offering guaranteed income could very well be the key to unlocking their full potential. Program launched August 31st. And so earlier this year, LA County rolled out Breath, another experimental program providing cash assistance of $1,000 per month to county residents 18 and older in poor and working class neighborhoods who were hurt financially during the pandemic. Residents had to apply to Breathe, which is funded with federal COVID relief money and conducted in partnership with the nonprofit Strength, Community Change of Wilmington. So last year, LA became the biggest city in the nation to launch $1,000 a month cash assistance program. About 3,200 Los Angeles households were randomly selected for the initiative by the city's research partner, the Center for Guaranteed Income Research. So this is interesting. I think my first thought is, all right, you're kind of just testing the waters with UBI.
Yeah, it's a means testing.
It's means testing, but I'm also thinking, like, how is this different from, like, how does this compare to other welfare structures that you have in place to begin with? Because, you know, for mostly if they're just targeting people who are like unemployed, I just want to know, like, I guess my question is, are you giving this in addition to other support structures that are given to them, or is this a substitute, right? Like, the whole idea of universal basic income is universal, but here you are providing quote unquote universal basic income to a group of 300 people. It's like,
Thus my issue with state by state Medicare for all. Yeah. Well, guess what? This would be cool if it were federal, because then all of us would get it. But I'm really, really happy for these people, genuinely, because it sounds like they are very deserving.
Yeah.
However, I'd be happier if it were people in those circumstances all across the country.
Mm-hmm.
There is no equity in this means testing bullshit. There's not.
No.
So you're going to do this for 3 years to see if it works. Well, yeah, it's going to fucking work. People need the money.
Yeah.
What do you need to know? It's going to fucking work.
Right. You down with modern monetary theory says, do they lose other benefits? Well, yeah, and that's exactly my question.
That was my first question when I read
that's
that.
not clear, right? Like, is this in addition to any other benefits that they might be getting, or is this a substitute? Because if it's going to be a substitute, then it's possible that they could be getting less money than they're already getting. And then if you say, oh, well, they're struggling more, then that gives you, that could almost be a setup to be like, oh, look, it doesn't work, didn't fix the problem. Well, if you took away the other benefits that they had, then of course it's not going to work.
Now, that was the first question I had. So when I looked into it more, I don't want to say this as fact, but what I deduced is that if these people are in a cash assistance program to qualify, to me, that may mean that it's just additional because they need to be enrolled in that medical assistance type program to even qualify.
Okay.
So it wouldn't make sense to me that they would then say, but cut your other benefits, because it's,
right.
it's through the same program.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but because I didn't find a definitive answer, but that's kind of what I'm surmising.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I hope.
Hopefully. Yeah. One of these days, we'll see what comes up with that study. I mean, they've been doing some, but
hey, we were told, us Pennsylvanians were told a month ago that our governor wanted to give us a $2,000 stimulus. They still haven't even fucking voted on it. And it was over a month ago.
Great.
My husband and I were like, oh my God, we're going to get a new bathtub. And we're like planning all this shit. And I'm like, dude, they didn't even vote on it. Why do we, like, we know better than this. Why are we doing that to ourselves? So sad.
All right. So finding your tweet that was here. Okay, we're literally, I got it. You thought I didn't have it. I have it.
You got it, boo. You got
it. So this is Joyce saying, hi, we're literally paying for Ukraine's healthcare while we suffer and die without any. Why the F are people shocked by this? I've seen articles of spending breakdowns for months. The more than $4 billion in additional aid to Ukraine approved by Congress on Thursday brings the total. Wasn't there another one approved since then? Brings the total U.S. commitment during the Russian invasion to roughly $54 billion when combined with the aid package passed in March. Yeah.
Yes, this is I think at least a month old, but I put more in the thread. The reason why I wanted to show this is because, Andrew, if you could pull it back up. I mean, I know you guys know me, so you get my sense of humor, but I added the American flags for humor value to prove I was being facetious. If you read my actual tweet and have any kind of reading comprehension whatsoever, you can tell that I am calling out the U.S. for neglecting us, not calling out Ukraine for taking the money. What fucking country is going to turn down our money? I'm not saying shit about Ukraine. This post is about how our country prioritizes war over helping us. It shouldn't be that difficult to understand. Well, the reason why I wanted to share this, over 400 comments calling me xenophobic, a Ukraine hater, an awful person, that I have no humanity, that I want people to suffer and die. Just the most awful things. Over 400 comments for me stating a fact with receipts. I was just like, holy shit. Like, finally, I just stopped reading the comments because they're so mean and heartless. And I'm like, y'all don't have humanity because you're bootlicking imperialism. I have humanity because I want people to fucking have health care. So the fact that you're arguing with me over why, war is not something to, ever say anything bad about, and that I'm xenophobic for not praising Ukraine for having healthcare, they're like, oh, well, they're in a war zone. Should we just not give them healthcare? We've been paying for Israel's healthcare for decades. Israel, are they being invaded by Russia? So don't give me that fucking bullshit, dude. Just don't. We're also paying for Ukrainians in the United States to go to college for free. This is a fact. Me stating that does not make me xenophobic. It does not make me hate Ukraine. It is me saying that our country prioritizes other people. That is a fact. And the fact that it's like, oh my God, Ukraine. People are so obsessed with making them these heroes, ignoring all the Nazis, ignoring things like that. And, it's so sad. All I did was share a fact. That's all I did. And I provided tons of receipts, as did several others. But I just got bombarded with hate.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, I'm not going to fucking take it down. Tough shit.
Sometimes I imagine just going to a party and just like dealing with like how exactly people present themselves on Twitter. Just like that would be the most cutthroat. But like, there people be just literally fist fighting within 5 minutes.
Yes. Oh my God.
Like there'd be knives. There would be just like it would just be like
I would get
Cobra Kai shit.
I would absolutely get my ass beat because I'm a pacifist and I don't fucking fight. And everybody would just dogpile me and kick the shit out of me for daring to mention the word Ukraine. Ay. Yeah, so that thread is still up on my page if you want to see some of the gems in there. Saying some quite hateful and disgusting things. To yours truly.
So now is the time where we end on a funny note.
I never talk about aesthetics because I find it very insipid, but this shit had me in tears.
So Lucky Burrito, one of a regular viewer. If you're here, Lucky Burrito, hello. Does she not realize this just makes it worse? Okay, so Lori Lightfoot, stop sending me this shit. And then Windy City elected official.
That's awful. It's awful, but it's fucking hilarious.
She looks like one of those characters from Batman Returns from the 1992 version. That dude, he was like the businessman that like, yeah. I'm gonna have to get a picture of him.
I mean,
Christopher Walken in like Batman Returns. I'm gonna keep talking. I'm gonna find that.
It's only funny because she's an absolutely awful person. But yeah, this is the first one I saw. The stop sending me this was oh my God, Mike Tyson saying something like Mary Quithmith or something on a meme, and someone sent it to him and he's like, stop sending me this shit. It was kind of amazing.
Okay, I got this now. The Christopher Walken got the little hair, the white hair coming out. Sorry, I need to add it to the stream. Here we go. There it is.
Wait, let me see. Let me enlarge it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. You're a horrible person. So much for laughing.
Yeah, that's what they.
Oh my God.
I don't know if that's what you want to look like because he was a piece of shit. So I don't know if you want to.
Oh my God. Well, speaking of which, we're going to do our Halloween show again.
Yes.
Last year, I'll have to get a photo. Last year, I was Robert Smith from The Cure. It was fucking epic. I looked exactly like him and had the album in the background. It was amazing. Andrew, why don't you tell people what you wore?
I was like, hey Arnold or football or whatever you want.
He had a hat that was a football.
Yeah, you know.
This year you got to do it up, boo. Like that was like
it'll be a little better.
Like full on like white face makeup, wig, outfit, like everything. And you're like, had a hat. Oh my god, you gotta earn the people's trust back, boo.
My
I
whole
did ask-
credibility rests on this. Yeah.
Ron Placone joined us last time. I asked if he could join us this time. Unfortunately, he does have a prior engagement. So you're stuck with me and Andrew. But my DMs are open on Twitter. If you guys want, I thought it would be super cool if we talked about like, you know, ghost stories, witchcraft, something like that. Like, I think it would be so cool if we just had like an all fun show. What do you think, Andrew?
Hell yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll do something like that.
Yeah.
Sounds good. What you got coming up, Andrew?
Yeah. So, oh yes. So me and Z for People's Voice Network on our show Overlook News, we did a recording where we interviewed Afeni on her article with Rolling Stone that she did with Jen Dies. Is it Dies? I don't know. Regarding Aretha Franklin and all the years that the FBI actually surveilled her. And so some really interesting information came out there. So definitely check that out when it gets released. It'll be released in like a day or two on the People's Voice Network. But yeah, it's really interesting kind of what they both found from FBI files in terms of the extent that they tried to go after Aretha Franklin. You know, so it just really reveals all just what the FBI did and continues to do now.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just announced on Twitter, I'm so fucking excited. I have Harvey K coming on my show November 2nd. If you guys don't know who he is, he's like a 6-time bestseller, just a rad dude. He writes about Marxism and FDR and democracy and radical politics from the past. And he's just, he's a professor. And just, you know, I guess Marianne Williamson told him about me, and I got a DM and I almost peed my pants. So yeah, he's coming on. We're going to talk about his new book on British Marxism in politics. So and Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern, I will be joining Revolutionary Blackout Network for their activism summit. 4 p.m. I'll be on the disability healthcare panel, and 5 p.m. will be a panel with JB, myself, and 3 of my co-organizers from M for M for All. And we're going to be talking about that new UN action that we're organizing. So that's definitely exciting as well. Looking forward to it. If you guys have the ability, please sign up to my Patreon. As I said, I just broke my microphone and my webcam and I'm using Scotch tape. So you can do it for as little as $3 a month. It helps me with my streaming fees and equipment, which I definitely need now, apparently. Please follow my YouTube and Rockfin Savage Joy Marie Man. Thank you guys so much for watching. Much love to everyone. Andrew, get some sleep. I'm sending you air hugs. You're muted, Stinkbot.
I was just going to say, I think with all things considering, we did a good job, despite some of the mess that we're both, in different ways.
Yeah, today was just a bad day. But there's still like 2 hours left to hopefully have something good happen.
Cool. I'm going straight to bed, but yeah, I'll hope that the rest of the few hours that you're up for are good. So, all right, everyone.
All right,
Thanks
thanks
for
so
tuning
much,
in.
guys. Much love.
Bye-bye.
Talk to you later.